Sunshine across eastern areas. Can't rule out some showers across the west though. Fairly similar temperatures, so still remaining pleasant in any sunshine. But low pressure is still mostly dominating, particularly across western areas. A westerly flow still at times dragging in some showers and some longer spells of rain. And we could still see 1 or 2 showers, particularly across western parts of the UK. But once again, central areas, parts of the east will remain mostly dry. Plenty of clear skies, which means it is going to be turning cooler overnight. We could even see some mist and fog in prone areas by the morning. Some showers just starting to push into the southwest, otherwise mostly dry, and lows reaching around 7 to 8 degrees Celsius in Scotland. Heading into Tuesday, and it should be a fairly similar start as to what we saw this morning. Once again, plenty of clear skies, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, some mist and fog in places. Much cloudier start across Northern Ireland and northwestern parts of England, and a risk of showers here. Similar too across parts of Wales and southwest England, but for the bulk of the country, it should be a mostly dry and bright start to the day. And once again, across eastern areas, the sunshine will continue and it should remain mostly dry. But we'll see more clouds start to build in from the west. Still once again some showers. Southern parts of Wales, Devon and Cornwall could see plenty of showers by the time we reach the afternoon. Some could be heavy with some hail and thunder. And with that more cloud in the west, we could see more hazy spells of sunshine. But otherwise a mostly dry, settled day, fairly similar temperatures, highs reaching around 22 degrees Celsius in the southeast. Wednesday, though, perhaps a dry start in eastern areas, soon being replaced by further cloud and showers before we see persistent bands of rain push in from the west, turning quite blustery at times too, alongside some heavy bursts of rain. So quite an unsettled day on Wednesday, and the showers are still continuing for Thursday and Friday, but hopefully plenty of bright and sunny spells in between, where it should remain fairly pleasant.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, this chap made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good evening, it's 9 p.m. I'm Alex Armstrong in for Patrick Christys. Tonight, 1,097 arrivals in boats on the new Home Secretary's first day. Meanwhile, yes, the plan to intercept small boats is threatened while the French government is in turmoil. Also,
I have alerted and referred myself to the independent advisor on the ministerial code to ensure that they can look transparently at what's happened and also...
Yep, after Angela Rayner's sensational exit, does the next deputy leader need to be a woman? And...
The National Trust not only seeks to protect nature, but also England's historical identity.
Right, well, Gen Z are turning into the National Trust to calm their climate anxiety. Also, and trust me, those aren't the worst scenes, because tube strikes in London are impacting the economy by a whopping 230 million. And
I think that the Boris wave, and I like him personally, I always have done, he's a very entertaining bloke.
Well, Nigel's ruled out working with Boris Johnson. Well, what did we say about that, Nadine Dorris, eh? Well, on my panel tonight, Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, and former Conservative Party chairman Sir Jake Berry. And what on earth is going on here?
Mr. Thilio, started your time.
Ooh, anyway, your Monday night starts right here. Well, Donald Trump doesn't know how bad it really is. That's next.
Good evening, it's 2 minutes past 9. I'm Katie Bowen in the GB newsroom. Let's start tonight by bringing you an update on some breaking news. Emergency services have confirmed that Terminal 4 of Heathrow Airport is safe to reopen after firefighters earlier responded to a possible hazardous materials incident on site. Responding this evening, the Metropolitan Police has said in a statement that no trace of any adverse substance was found and that 20 people reported an injury. The force said none were deemed to be life-threatening or life-changing. Both London Fire Brigade and the Met say that inquiries into the incident are ongoing, and Heathrow has apologised for any disruption caused, adding that passengers should check their airline for more information on flights this evening. To France, where tonight Prime Minister Francois Bayrou has been ousted from Parliament after losing a confidence vote. MPs debated and voted on the motion this afternoon, with Bayrou losing the vote 364 to 194. The country has been plunged into fresh political chaos, as Bayrou is expected to tender his resignation tomorrow morning. The Élysée Palace has confirmed this evening that President Emmanuel Macron will name a new Prime Minister in the coming days. Bayrou has only been in office since December. Back at home, Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood says the UK could suspend visas from countries that do not play ball and agree to returns deals for migrants. Ms Mahmood has hosted a security alliance today alongside ministers from countries like America and Canada to discuss the rise of people smuggling gangs. It comes after more than 1,000 migrants crossed the Channel on the Home Secretary's first full day in office, bringing the total this year to more than 30,000 arrivals. Ms Mahmood has vowed to do whatever it takes to stop small boat crossings. Well, the new Home Secretary has also confirmed that she will not be running for Deputy Leader of the Labour Party. Labour MPs have until Thursday to secure the support of colleagues in Westminster if they wish to replace Angela Rayner. Candidates must get nominations from 80 MPs, a fifth of the total on the Labour benches, by 5 o'clock on Thursday. The result of the process will be announced on the 25th of October. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's company, Ineos, has abandoned its UK investment plans over what they call Britain's unstable fiscal regime. The chief executive of Ineos's energy division said that the company will now divert plans to invest £3 billion to the United States instead. The company was forced to shut the Grangemouth oil refinery earlier this year. And Prince Harry has just spoken at the Wellchild Awards in central London, saying that the world has thrown a fair few challenges our way. The Duke of Sussex praised the organisation's work to shine a bright spotlight on the needs of children and young people living with complex medical conditions. He's in the UK for the first time in 5 months, and earlier he visited Windsor Castle, where he laid a wreath and privately paid respects to the late Queen. Sticking with royal news, the Princess of Wales has joined her husband in an engagement to mark the third anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II's death. Kensington Palace sources say the Princess of Wales was keen to join her husband to commemorate and celebrate the life of the late Queen. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now let's go back to Alex.
You can now watch GB News live across the United States of America and the world on Truth Plus. Scan the QR code to find out more, or visit gbnews.com/truth.
Donald Trump, please listen up before you land in the UK next week. Keir Starmer's spinning you a fairy tale about the state of free speech in the United Kingdom.
Free speech in this country has been for a very long time. We're very, very proud of it. We will protect it forever.
Yeah, let's get real. It's on life support under this Labour regime. Take journalist Rebecca Tidy. Yesterday, she revealed the police hauled her in for a caution interview over 4 alleged tweets about an ex-sergeant who's facing alleged charges. And do you remember Alison Pearson?
Seemed to me a completely mad overreaction. Whatever it was that I posted a year ago on X, I'm not in the habit of writing anything horrible and inflammatory. If I wrote something that was unwise, I still don't think that's a proportionate response.
Well, last year on Remembrance Sunday, Essex police knocked on her door over a tweet they claimed stirred racial hatred. The case? Well, that was dropped earlier this year after public outcry, but the intimidation stuck. Some might suggest journalism is itself under threat. Then there's Graham Linehan, the comedy genius. Just last week, 5 armed officers arrested him at Heathrow over 3 ex-posts accused of inciting violence. Well, he denies any wrongdoing and is out on bail, facing trial and more. And, of course, does the name Lucy Connolly ring a bell?
Country flags and the other children, but I wasn't allowed it.
That is Orwellian bureaucracy.
It's madness.
That is really nasty.
So,
You can't even see a photo of your own kid representing her country holding her national flag.
No, apparently not.
Yeah, need I say more on her case? Well, Starmer had to admit in PMQs, we must ensure the police focus on the most serious issues. Well, it all sounds a bit too late for that, Prime Minister. The government's also gagging the press over its own disasters too. Did you hear, Trump, about the Afghan data leak? They silenced our press, then imported thousands without a whisper of accountability. They said it was to protect the lives of Afghan nationals whose personal data had been accidentally leaked. Now, of course, with the Online Safety Act in full swing since March, platforms are being fined left and right. They're even eyeing American users. Starmer's also lecturing the police for overreach, but Met Chief Mark Rowley's had enough. He's demanding the new Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood rewrite the laws within weeks to stop officers policing tweets instead of the streets. But as Starmer very well knows, the cops enforce what politicians like him pass in legislation. So why doesn't the PM pretend he has this huge majority in Parliament and just scrap these Orwellian rules? Over 30 arrests a day for online posts. That is more than 12,000 a year, according to 2023 data. Well, that's just been reported in the last few months as well. That is more chilling, isn't it? Because we know Russia arrests less people over social media posts than we do.
Very surprised to see what's happening in. Are you talking about the UK in particular, right? Yeah, I'm very surprised to see what's happening. Sad. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, well, Trump clearly isn't buying the spin anymore, and I want him to come over here and call out this Orwellian nightmare and push for real free speech. Because before you know it, next time he visits this country, the birth country of his mother, he'll see Brits lining up like North Koreans, clapping, nodding and jumping for their supreme leader, Starmer. Well, let's get the thoughts of my panel: Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, and Sir Jake Berry, of course, former Tory, now in Reform UK. Sir Jake, I'll start with you. Of course, you're now a member of the Reform Party. Nigel Farage was out in America saying that we are like North Korea. And when you list that litany of things there, of all those people, I mean, we're talking quite a lot of famous people, journalists, people who've got big voices, but we always forget the thousands of others that have been completely missed.
I mean, you know, people are right to be really concerned about this. Two brief points I'm making. The first thing is that, you know, I think everyone on this panel would sit here and quite rightly criticise Russia as a brutal dictatorship, a pariah state that is pursuing an illegal war. But if you look at the facts, 7 times more people in the allegedly free United Kingdom have been arrested for what they've put on the internet in the last 12 months since Keir Starmer conveniently became Prime Minister than in that pariah state of Russia. And let's not forget, it's also a bit of a bigger place than Great Britain. And the second thing is really interesting, listening to Keir Starmer's tweets. He says, we're a country with a history, a long history of free speech. Guess what? He's right. Many of those rights go back to the Magna Carta, the Charter of King John. But every single day, every single week, you have to fight to maintain those rights. They're not sort of given to us by a sort of, you know, an all-loving state that says what we really want you to be is free. They have been won literally with the blood of British people on the battlefields here in this country and across Europe to be safeguarded. And Nigel Farage is absolutely right. We should be deeply, deeply concerned about our rights, the rights given to us by our forefathers, being taken away from. I believe in freedom. That's one of the reasons I back reform. Britain used to be free. Things are going in the wrong direction.
Benjamin?
Well, I mean, it's just beyond absurd to use the Russia example. First of all,
well, it's true. Why is it absurd?
Because, first of all, we can't fact-check that, but what it's actually talking about. But secondly, the reason that people don't say publicly criticisms of Putin in Russia is because they know they'd be straight out a window on the 5th floor.
Well, they get arrested like they do in the UK.
Well, they fall out of windows rather conveniently. So the fact that Russia is actually an oppressive state is why no one makes controversial or provocative or illegal comments in the first place. So it's really a ridiculous comparison. But I think it's
just on that point, because Benjamin, because yes, and that's how it starts, though. It starts with things like this, does it? It starts with policies like this, where if you criticise things that are not within the sphere of acceptable realms that the government say it is, you end up going into prison, and then you're fearful, right? And it's that slow creep we're heading towards, right? And that's what should be concerning.
Just ask Lucy Connolly about it.
Yes, quite.
No, Lucy Connolly is a criminal and was rightly convicted. And I think the proof that we do not have some Stasi stopping you saying what you like is the fact that you're sat on that sofa. The proof is the fact that Nigel Farage's party is on 30 to 35% in the polls. That is evidence that people can say and debate how they want. What some people want is a blank cheque for bigotry, and that is something this country should not accept because we're better than that.
No. So, I'm sorry, but the police in this country have become politically radicalised now. And what's happening is, and especially over issues like the trans issue, they're behaving like a radical arm of Stonewall. It's incredible. You know, and that business last week with Graham Linehan, that was, you know, Mark Rowley is saying today we should be allowed to police the streets and stop. I'm sorry, Mark Rowley is the boss of the Met Police. That must have been run by him to send 5 armed guards to an airport to arrest Graham Linehan. That heavy-handed route. He had to be taken to hospital with the kind of blood pressure that's the kind that induces strokes. That's how heavy-handed this was. And there is a pattern in this country now emerging of heavy-handed harassment. We're seeing it every day of the week. You had Alison Pearson on there. We've seen it with Graham Linehan. And there is specifically, and he said the other day, you know, we don't want to be involved in a toxic culture war. Oh, yes, you do. You have specifically become involved in a culture war. And as J.K. Rowling said last week, she said it's not a culture war, it's a campaign of intimidation against women for standing up for their rights. And she's absolutely right. And the other thing they're standing up for is the trans ideology. And they are actually they are letting vicious, intimidatory men who are pretending to be women insult and threaten women, biological women, and that's got to stop it. But it happens in police forces all over this country now.
But Jay, because of course Mark Rowley's going to go to the Home Secretary. It's all in the press. I mean, so she knows it's coming, right? And he's going to say to her, right, change the law. Right?
Doesn't have to change. Doesn't have to change.
Sorry, I've got quite a lot of time for Mark Rowley. I think he's
not. He's done nothing for the Leadbeasts. How can you say that?
What I would say is, what he has said about that is categorically untrue, because the government said, well, it's an operational matter, that's up to the police.
Exactly.
Now, we know in this country, walk through any major city... No, it is actually.
It's an interpretation of the law, surely. And the police are interpreting
walk through
the law.
any major city, and you can see that the police decide to police things sort of...
The way they want.
Some things they want to do, some things they do. Walk through any major city, what do you smell? Cannabis. On every single street. The police now do not routinely arrest people for smoking cannabis. That is the law of the land. It's a crime. It's a criminal offence. They choose not to do it. The police prioritise what they want to prioritise. What I want them to prioritise is people robbing your house, people mugging you on the street, people smoking drugs on the street, not what people put on the internet. And they have the freedom to do it. They are just running away from this issue.
They could actually do that. 94%
Of course they can do it. That's my point.
of all crimes in this country go unsolved because they're too busy faffing around with tweets online.
But because there's a lot of criticism around guidance as well, police guidance, which isn't law. It's just guidance for them, and they have to follow that too. I mean, surely they should just be enforcing the law.
Well, I absolutely, obviously think that when a phone is nicked, they should bother to investigate, and the fact they don't is reprehensible. Unfortunately, it was Sir Jake's party that let that become the norm over the last 14 years.
Oh, come on, the last 14 months.
So the shortage of...
I'll agree with Benjamin on that. I think the Tories absolutely failed us.
But the last 14 months, we have, in the eyes of the rest of the world, we're becoming a totalitarian state. So much so that
it's been...
insult. This is, no, it isn't.
That's an insult to actual people in oppressive states.
In the US conference about the lack of our freedom of speech. It's
by other crazy people. Other crazy people that want the right to say...
Not by crazy people.
Precisely what I said, other crazy people. The truth is that maybe police would have more time if you didn't have yobs going around graffitiing red crosses on every wall, damaging public property.
That's absolutely true.
If you didn't have racists going out in the streets causing all these issues.
To put up a flag. I mean, I don't endorse
it is on public property,
graffiti, and I don't endorse that.
That's what they've been doing.
But Banksy went up and did it today. There seems to be much trouble with him doing it. All right, so
exactly.
It's pick and choose, isn't it? Really, when it comes to that.
Two-tier
This is the
Britain.
problem. It is. It's two-tier.
It's an operational issue.
They see an England flag, it's racist.
And you can put Palestinian flags wherever you want.
But Jake, I want to get onto this point because Benjamin did raise a good point. He said, the Tories do not have a good track record on this. You could have changed these laws. You could have cracked down on this. And I appreciate you're not a Tory anymore, but I've got a lot of criticism of... Well, that's a good point too. But I've got a lot of criticism of the previous government for not doing anything about this. Now there's Tories sitting in the House of Commons all crying about it.
Yeah. Look, they're crocodile tears, aren't they? And, when I joined Reform, I was absolutely clear that there's a lot the Conservative Party got wrong on immigration. I spent years trying to fight them to be tougher on crime, tougher on immigration. I actually refused... I was looking today at my voting record. I thought it might come up. So I refused... You haven't researched it, but I refused to vote for the online safety bill in the latter stages. I was against all of this. I was against all of this. But I have worked out the only way you fix this... Broken Britain is to do it differently. Get rid of the major parties. The Conservatives created chaos in 14 years. The Labour Party have beaten them by doing it in 14 months. It is time for real change.
The cops are being very disingenuous here by saying they're not being allowed to police the streets. Oh, yes, they are. It's much easier to police a tweet than it is to go and catch a robber or a rapist.
It's also
it's really easy for them to just sit in an office and go through.
Because Carol's got a point. And do you really think people should be getting arrested for tweets?
Yes, of course.
In your core, do you really believe that that's acceptable in Britain?
There's such an absurdity to the argument. The world exists first online these days. It's where people organise and express and radicalise.
Says people of your age. Now, I'm afraid for the mass of the population, the world does not just exist online.
Actually, it's just been robbed on Oxford Street
because you're of another generation and you do lots of your life and your work online.
My life is not online.
It's wrong to suggest that it's somehow, people as remarkably young as me. The truth is that people can reach millions of people with dangerous posts about torching hotels and other violent incitements online.
There's one that you picked out.
And that should rightly be a crime and is incredibly dangerous to society.
We've got final words, Carol.
So we have seen the police, they prioritise certain groups, certain people. They don't go for certain protests, they go for others. They have become politicised to a point where they're they're not fit for purpose anymore. And to make excuses now when there's a new Home Secretary in place and say, oh, help us, they could easily police our streets. They've chosen to take the easy way out and police Twitter.
Yeah, listen, I mean, Donald Trump, you know, I've got criticism of the way he handles free speech in America. He's not perfect, but it is vastly better over there than it is here. And, we cannot go on like this. I mean, what's going to happen? We will all be nodding and clapping like North Koreans. I can see it happening. Anyway.
GB News will be off air.
Oh, we won't be on air. There'll be someone from the BBC side going, Kiss off was great. Anyway, time for our latest Great British giveaway now, and it's our biggest prize today, worth over 104 grand. You can win a 4-berth motorhome worth 74 grand plus 30k in tax-free cash. Here's all the details.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck, everybody. Coming up, why are Gen Z flocking to the National Trust to calm their climate anxiety? Right, anyway, but next.
I have alerted and referred myself to the independent advisor on the ministerial code to ensure that they can look transparently at what's happened, and also contacted HMRC to say that.
Inspiring stuff there. But up next, former Labour Deputy Leader Harriet Harman said the party must pick a woman to replace Angela Rayner as their party's deputy. But can a woman really save their party at this rate? This is Patrick Christys tonight with Alex Armstrong only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Well, following the scandalous departure of Angela Rayner, an election for Labour deputy leadership is now underway. Rayner's departure led to a major cabinet reshuffle, and Emily Thornberry became the first high-profile figure to announce her possible intention for the bid. Other rumoured candidates include Lucy Powell, Alison McGovern and Rosanna Aline Khan. Andy Burnham also called for a northern voice to fill this role, suggesting Louise Hay, who resigned as Transport Secretary last year after pleading guilty to a fraud offence. But does the new Deputy Party leader need to be a woman? Well, joining me, I've got a couple of fantastic guests coming up here. Michelle Donnellan, and someone remind me who else is coming on the show, hopefully, if I can find out in a second. Michelle. Oh, and it's Paul. Hello, Paul. I didn't know you were there. Sorry, I know Michelle was there. I didn't know Paul was coming. Paul, lovely to see you. Michelle, lovely to see you both. Listen, Michelle, you're a woman, so I think no one better to start with here than yourself, of course. Does it need to be a woman? Does a deputy leader need to be a woman to save the Labour Party?
Absolutely not. I think this is really patronising to women. But also, let's face it, the country's in a right old mess. This government have done nothing but attack wealth creation and aspiration. So I really don't think the cure-all is going to be a diversity hire. They do need somebody with talent, somebody that's going to listen to the general public and understand the needs of the general public. But that's not going to simply just be a token woman. It's going to have to be somebody who's going to actually do that. And looking around that Parliamentary Labour Party, I can't see anybody that's going to fit this bill, woman or man, because they're all just going to be blind in their march towards policies dogged by ideology.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on there, Michelle, because, Paul, at the end of the day, we've got Emily Thornberry throwing her hat in the ring already. She's already talking about Gaza, interestingly. She's already criticising the party, saying they've made loads of mistakes. Doesn't sound like a good start to a relationship you'll need, clearly, with the Prime Minister. Does it really matter if it's a woman? Surely if it's a man, you want the best person for the job, don't you?
Well, I don't think it should be a woman for the sake of it. I mean, if you do that, you might end up somebody like, I don't know, Liz Truss or Kemi Badenoch, or somebody just simply not up to the job, as the Tories have. And the Tories have only got 24% of their MPs are women anyway. So, you know, they're lecturing us on equal rights and the rest of it. I mean, as it happens, Alex, all of the candidates who've put themselves forward thus far are women, and not a single man has. Now, in our rules, obviously, male MPs can put themselves forward, but the mood is it should be a woman to balance up the man who is Keir Starmer, but also to reach out to women voters, because we want, you know, which is after all a majority of the population, to vote. Now, the bombshell tonight is actually that Bridget Phillipson is almost certainly putting her hat in the ring as well, and she is the cabinet minister from the North East. Very tough cookie indeed. So I think she's now the one to watch. Rosanna Aline Khan from Tooting has also put her hat in the ring. So there's an interesting contest opening. Anyway, we'll know by Thursday who the shortlist is, because MPs have to nominate by 5 o'clock on Thursday.
Yeah, Paul, before I throw it back to Michelle, though, because you were critical of Kemi Badenoch and Liz Truss, but they got there on merit, right? And at the end of the day, it was not a female-only selection process. They got there because at the time the Tories deemed them to be the best people for the job. You haven't even had a single female run your party yet, let alone a person of colour. You know, do you need to force DEI in your party because maybe there's an issue with women, perhaps?
Well, hang on, you're assuming that this is a women-only shortlist. It's not. Like I said before, any man that wants to put themselves
But are the men
forward
self-selecting themselves out because it's sort of an unspoken rule? It should be a DEI hire.
It's not an unspoken rule. It's just, I think, a sense that it's good to balance up the ticket and to have women as well as men. And by the way, our party was led by Harriet Harman and Margaret Beckett in the past.
Oh, well, briefly, come on. I mean, that's not
Yeah,
really... I wouldn't say it's good. Michelle, I'll pass it back over to you. Go on. Michelle, I'll pass it back over to you. What do you make of Paul's comments?
Well, look, I don't think I need to take any lectures on behalf of the Conservative Party in terms of representation, and it certainly has been based on merit. But what we were discussing was Harriet Harman's comments, and she did say it should be a woman. Now, she didn't qualify that with it should be a woman but based on merit. She said it should be a woman, which is demeaning and patronising to women, and I guess we shouldn't expect any more from a party whose senior figures have struggled in the past to actually define what a woman is. But let's face it, our country, as I said at the very beginning, is in a state. And this is a party that is continually attacking aspiration and the hopes and dreams of many people, and just thinking that you're going to solve all those problems and that women will suddenly magically vote for the Labour Party again just because the Deputy Prime Minister is a woman is for the birds.
Yeah, Paul, I mean, Angela Rayner was really the most high-profile person in the party when it comes to female representation, at least. She's gone now. I mean, are there really any... we've also got Louise Hay throwing her name back in the ring. She's only been out of the job for 12 months. She resigned disgraced again. Is it just 12 months in the Labour Party you can come back? Was that the sort of message we're sending to people now? Is it that bad?
I'm not sure Louise Hay is actually standing. I mean, I think she's still deciding. But I mean, the point is, you know, we can between us come up with about 8 or 9 names of women who are prominent MPs, some on the front bench, some on the back bench, showing there is that depth of talent there. It's a real interesting contest. It'll narrow down to just 2 or 3, though, on Thursday, because they have to get 80 MPs to support them, and that's quite a high bar. It's 20% of the parliamentary Labour Party. So it'll be clear by then if there's a man coming forward. I mean, Harriet said it should be a woman. Harriet thinks it should always be a woman. That's her view on most things. But, you know, it is up to the parliamentary party now to see who they nominate. And if a man comes forward, great. There's no rule that says they can't. But at the moment, we are blessed with a good range of really talented women. So good luck to them.
Michelle, what's your take on all-women shortlists? You know, I mean, the Tory party used to have a problem with this. It seems to have evened itself out naturally, perhaps. You didn't go too hard on the all-women shortlist. I believe you might have done at some point in time. What's your take on that?
I think they're outrageous. I think that women and all walks of life should be able to get there through merit. And yes, you even the playing field by helping people and removing obstacles and barriers and things that are unfair, but you don't rig the system, which is basically what all women shortlists are.
And Paul, who would you like to see as your deputy leader of your party?
I think it'll end up being a runoff between Bridget Phillipson and Rosanna Allen-Khan. That would be my bet. Early doors, but that's what I'm suggesting. And between those two, well, let's see.
All right. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for joining. Paul, lovely surprise to see you again today. A former Labour Party advisor, Paul Richards, former Education Secretary, Michelle Dunn. Lovely to have you two. Thank you both very much for joining me on the show. Well, coming up, tube strikes all week in London. It's estimated there'll be a direct economic cost of around 230 million. The poorest, again, are being affected. But next...
The National Trust not only seeks to protect nature, but also England's historical identity.
Yeah, why are woke Gen Z flocking to the National Trust to calm their climate anxiety? Christ alive. Anyway, this is Patrick Christys tonight with me, Alex Armstrong, only on GB News.
Be nice to escape the grey.
Clear skies, here we come.
As clear as our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. An unsettled couple of days to come across parts of Spain and Italy with some heavy showers around. But for the Canaries, actually, next couple of days, largely fine, apart from the odd shower around. Plenty of sunshine, actually, for parts of Portugal and western Spain. But for eastern Spain, the Balearics, parts of Italy, southern France, some heavy and thundery downpours around. But for much of Greece and Turkey, fine a couple of days to come, with temperatures here reaching the high 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Heading into tomorrow, and we'll see more sunshine across eastern areas. Can't rule out some showers across the west though. Fairly similar temperatures, so still remaining pleasant in any sunshine. But low pressure is still mostly dominating, particularly across western areas. A westerly flow still at times dragging in some showers and some longer spells of rain. And we could still see 1 or 2 showers, particularly across western parts of the UK. But once again, central areas, parts of the east will remain mostly dry. Plenty of clear skies, which means it is going to be turning cooler overnight. We could even see some mist and fog in prone areas by the morning. Some showers just starting to push into the southwest, otherwise mostly dry, and lows reaching around 7 to 8 degrees Celsius in Scotland. Heading into Tuesday, and it should be a fairly similar start as to what we saw this morning. Once again, plenty of clear skies, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, some mist and fog in places. Much cloudier start across Northern Ireland and northwestern parts of England, and a risk of showers here. Similar too across parts of Wales and southwest England, but for the bulk of the country, it should be a mostly dry and bright start to the day. And once again, across eastern areas, the sunshine will continue and it should remain mostly dry. But we'll see more clouds start to build in from the west. Still once again some showers. Southern parts of Wales, Devon and Cornwall could see plenty of showers by the time we reach the afternoon. Some could be heavy with some hail and thunder. And with that more cloud in the west, we could see more hazy spells of sunshine. But otherwise a mostly dry, settled day, fairly similar temperatures, highs reaching around 22 degrees Celsius in the southeast. Wednesday, though, perhaps a dry start in eastern areas, soon being replaced by further cloud and showers before we see persistent bands of rain push in from the west, turning quite blustery at times too, alongside some heavy bursts of rain. So quite an unsettled day on Wednesday, and the showers are still continuing for Thursday and Friday, but hopefully plenty of bright and sunny spells in between, where it should remain fairly pleasant.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Welcome back to your Patrick Christys tonight with me, Alex Armstrong. Well, coming up, Shadow Transport Secretary Richard Holden will be joining us, and that's very, very, very soon. But first, Gen Z are flocking to the National Trust sites to escape social media and relieve climate anxiety. Oh, poor them. Well, recent research shows that adults aged 18 to 44 were more likely to visit heritage, landscape and culture sites than older generations. Maybe because they've already been, I don't know. Anyway, the conservation charity has seen a surge in popularity among young people, with their memberships rising 35% in the last year. Well, I'm now joined by climate activist Sean Irish. Sean, thank you so much for joining me. Now, listen, I have this conversation with people very regularly. Gen Z or Gen Z people, whatever you want to call them, they're a very, very anxious generation of people. And I believe when they're going through school, when they watch things like the BBC, they're constantly led to believe that the whole world is about to implode on them. And this is sort of things that I was told back in high school. We go back 20 years ago, I was told by 2020, London would be underwater and the skies would be red, but it all turns out to be rubbish. And it causes kids massive amount of anxiety. It's just crocodile tears.
It's an interesting viewpoint, Alex. They're not teaching me that in my schools. But you are right. We're seeing a massive return of what we would call old hobbies or boomer hobbies, thanks to the climate crisis, and the cost of living crisis. Gen Z, as you're probably aware, can't afford the luxuries of previous generations. The idea of going out to the pub is now a very rare treat. So you are seeing a mass return to old hobbies. You know, you said yourself that we're too fat and too woke to join the military. So we took that on board and we've gone out, we've gone hiking, we've got our fitness up, and now we're ready to take on Reform and any other Tories, even if they're in red ties.
I'm very impressed you remember that quote. That takes me back, that quote. It was quite a while ago, that one. But there's a 14% youth unemployment rate. Is this perhaps playing into it, that young people just aren't working? I also saw a statistic the other day that it's like something like 60-70% of young girls have taken a day off school because of anxiety. This sort of stuff they're taught at schools, this is what's worrying me, is that maybe woke parents and teachers are just teaching them that the world is going to end. What's the point going to work? Why don't you just go enjoy a nice day out in the National Trust instead?
Well, obviously, the unemployment rate is due to a lack of jobs in a struggling market. You know, we are seeing since the cost of living crisis, you know, there's not the same amount of work as there was in the past, and the work that is out there isn't meeting the living standards that young people need. You know, we grew up and we were told, you know, go get an education, go out and work and build a life for yourselves. Well, unfortunately, generations preceding us ate up all the wealth and destroyed the economy. So
Sean, I'll take issue with that. I think there's a lot of things going into why the economy's not looking so great, including the last budget, which seems to have obliterated a lot of those hospitality jobs you were talking about, particularly with pubs and stuff. But, you know, let me go back to some statistics here. 46% of Gen Z are diagnosed with mental health issues in the last few years. I mean, this is nuts. 46%, half of our young...
Yeah, it's an interesting thing when you look at stats like that. You know, like before the 1900s, no one was diagnosed with homosexuality. No one was gay because they hadn't got a term for it yet. We are seeing people being given terms to things that already exist. You know, mental health has always been a part of the thing. The difference is older generations just had their crazy uncle that no one talked to and eventually disappeared because he committed suicide.
Well, sure, but 46% is 46% is a very, very large number, Sean. I mean, come on, even you must say that you're telling me half of the population in the future are going to have mental health crisis. What are we going to do about that? That's nuts.
So there's a difference between a diagnosis and a crisis. Getting a diagnosis is the first step in avoiding a crisis and dealing with the crisis. Unlike previous generations, we are not ignoring our mental health. We are tackling it head on because we know that your generation and the generation previous will mock and laugh and will not help us. So we're taking it into our own hands and we're looking after ourselves because quite frankly, we're done with the ridicule that we've received. It is time for young people to look after ourselves. Your generation failed. You didn't fix the economy. You didn't do anything on the climate crisis. You've dragged us into more wars and you just continue to elect people who don't represent us. So yes, young people are getting out, they're joining National Trust, they're also joining protest movements, they're joining local community groups, they're sorting out food banks, they're helping their neighbours, they're protecting hospitals, they're protecting, you know, hotels, housing asylum seekers, because quite frankly, we know that you have no interest in helping us. GB News does not represent the people. GB News represents a very fringe minority of rich people pretending to care about the poor.
Oh, well, that's very interesting. Most of the audience members I meet aren't the wealthy elite of this country. Interestingly, Sean. Sean, I'll ask you this then: what sort of climate emergency should young people be worried about? What sort of things will you talk to young people about, Sean?
So we've already seen it. We've got over 1.5 degrees of warming consistently over the last year. It's expected to continue to happen every year on out. We are seeing more people go into the hospitals due to high heat. We're seeing more people die in the winter due to extreme cold. These are things that we need to tackle. We were promised change when Labour was voted in. We expected more than a change of tie. They didn't deliver that, and so young people will deliver for themselves.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, what is it that young people can do? Because at the end of the day, the government's pushing an extreme net zero agenda. It's killing our farms and destroying our countryside, things that I would have thought climate activists would want to protect, frankly, but it doesn't seem that you really care about that. It's only if you've got solar panels everywhere that are destroying the environment. You seem to love that, don't you? And the wind turbines that are also impossible to decompose in our environment. Also, you love those too. I mean, I don't really... It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, Sean.
One of those. Let's take windmills for a second. Windmills have been a fantastic way of stopping overfishing, dredging that's been happening in our oceans by massive trawlers. You may remember a couple of years ago, Greenpeace dropped massive boulders off the beach in Brighton to stop these protected oceans. Windmills do quite the same. We've seen the coral reefs.
Yeah, so just shove those windmills right into the bed of the ocean. That'll stop climate change. Yeah, I mean, the problem with windmills, Sean, as you know, wind turbines, is that it costs us just as much money to turn them off and keep them switched off because we can't do anything about the energy they produce. I mean, they're useless and they destroy the country. So as you can see, all that pavement. What do you think about all that pavement around that beautiful landscape there?
Well, we could try and run our country off the hot air that comes out of GB News, but unfortunately that's not realistic. So yes, we do have to look at all these different measures. The science is on the side of green renewables. The thing that's not is profit.
Okay.
Because oil and gas industry is in the pocket of Labour, in the pocket of the Tories, and in the pocket of reform.
Yeah, okay.
So young people, again, are going out.
Yeah, I think young people just want opportunities. I don't think they care about anything else. They think they just want to have work and have opportunities. But there you go, Sean Irish, climate activist there. They never want to plant trees. I don't understand why they don't want to plant trees. I think I love trees. Anyway, thank you very much, Sean. Right, coming up, 1,097 arrivals in small boats in the new Home Secretary's first day. But first... Yeah, chaos in London, tube strikes across the capital is having a massive impact on the UK economy. Oh, and there's still time to get your ticket to join us on Friday night.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle Duke, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up? About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Dubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, Downing Street has called on the RMT Union and Transport for London to get back to the negotiating table to end the chaos that is the tube strike in London. Commuters across the capital are facing severe disruption as this tube strike has shut down almost all London Underground services. It's estimated there'll be a direct economic cost of around £230 million. Meanwhile, above ground, the HS2, Britain's high-speed rail project, still faces criticism. Well, the costs have soared, and the northern leg has now, of course, been scrapped. It was a great idea in theory, but the fact that we're unable to complete it is a huge collective failure, isn't it? What changes do we need to make sure our transport systems function efficiently? Well, I'm now pleased I'm joined by Shadow Transport Secretary Richard Holden. Richard, thank you so much for joining me. Listen, I have to confess, I actually worked on some HS2 stuff back in my days in politics. But that was over 10 years ago, Richard. I cannot believe, and we'll get onto the tube strikes in a moment, but I cannot believe we're still talking about this project.
I know it's an enormous project, and I think the truth is it's been over-engineered, and when we're still looking at what to do with the Euston end of it, because the government just hasn't decided exactly how it's going to get it sorted out. It's a pretty, it's not a great situation for anybody to be in. And I think it just goes to show, actually, when you're looking at some of these projects, you need to actually look at what we need as a country, rather than go for something which is so far beyond what we really needed in the first place. We needed the extra capacity. That was always the issue here, and I think we allowed the over-engineering to take us just into the wrong place.
Yeah, it's spiraled. The cost is, what, 40 billion to the taxpayer now, right? It's spiraled. It's gone up and up and up and up. This cost is ridiculous.
I think it's going to be £100 billion plus by the end of this project.
Easily, right? But there's a little bit of criticism of the previous Tory government here, because you guys flip-flopped on these sorts of things quite regularly. I mean, we do need to build big infrastructure in this country, and we do need the energy to do it. We've been stagnating on growth across the country because we can't connect people better. I mean, you look at somewhere like Japan and even China, which is just building railways at a rapid rate, and you say they've got bullet trains, and we're still working on HS2. It's only going to shave off 30 minutes of people's journeys. A bullet train can get you there in an hour. Why do we not have this ambition to build anymore? What is it that's stopping us?
Well, I think you sort of raise an important point there. We could build these at the same speed as the bullet trains, and they wouldn't cost anywhere near as much. In fact, what we did is we engineered it to a situation, I think, where it was going to be the fastest in the world, which is not necessarily on an island the size of ours. And I think that's part of the issue that's come as part of it, because the knock-on consequences of that just mean that the engineering is incredibly expensive. And so I think actually something, maybe if we look back now, a high-speed line. Does it need to be as fast as this? If it was 20 miles an hour quicker or slower, we could have saved billions and billions of pounds. If it had been on a different route, there's all sorts of different questions which can be asked about it. And I think that the truth is that actually, when you think about it, the majority of people outside of London, particularly, almost all transport happens on our road network, and that's where a lot of the investment should be taking place. And even in London, and we're going to talk about the strikes coming up now, a huge amount of that investment has gone in over the last few years. But really, we want to see those, it's the road network which carries the majority of passengers via both car and bus as well.
Yeah, Richard, what we're talking about tubes, of course, because London is the capital. I know we don't want to be too London-centric, but London is the capital. It's getting to a point now where Londoners are wondering, what on earth am I paying my taxes for? In my opinion, these tube workers are very well compensated, particularly the drivers. I mean, 43 days of holiday a year, up to 80 grand in salary, some of them earning over 100k. I mean, this is nuts that they are striking and causing the capital to grind to a halt, and it's going to impact the poorest people. What would the Tories do in order to solve this crisis?
Well, one of the things we certainly wouldn't be doing is what the government are literally putting forwards in the next few days, which is to abolish those minimum strike thresholds, which are going to make strikes easier. So we've already seen a tripling of strikes under Sadiq Khan, and now we're looking like we're going to be seeing 3 times as many as we were before. And this was going to make it even easier for people to go on strike. And you're absolutely right to point out that tube drivers already earning very well, over £70,000 a year, basic pay for a 35-hour week. And get this, what the strikes are about is to try and move to a 32-hour week. I mean, it's just unbelievable that they're expecting full-time pay for part-time work when that full-time pay is already, almost double the national. In fact, it is over double the national average salary for a full-time worker. So I think when you're looking at it like this, and all of the pension and benefits there, pension and benefits which are just unattainable for other people. Richard, final salary pension schemes. These things are so protected. I just cannot believe.
Listen, sorry, we've got to go, but thank you so much for joining me. Richard Holden there, Shadow Transport Secretary. I've got a right reply here quickly for you. Nobody wants to see strike action or disruption for Londoners. Strikes have a serious impact on London's business and commuters. The Mayor continues to urge the RMT and TfL to get around the table and resolve this matter and get the network open. All right, well, and next coming up, we've got a big story for you. Are you a second-class citizen in your own country? Trust me, you're not going to want to miss it. See you shortly.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Heading into tomorrow, and we'll see more sunshine across eastern areas. Can't rule out some showers across the west though. Fairly similar temperatures, so still remaining pleasant in any sunshine. But low pressure is still mostly dominating, particularly across western areas. A westerly flow still at times dragging in some showers and some longer spells of rain. And we could still see 1 or 2 showers, particularly across western parts of the UK. But once again, central areas, parts of the east will remain mostly dry. Plenty of clear skies, which means it is going to be turning cooler overnight. We could even see some mist and fog in prone areas by the morning. Some showers just starting to push into the southwest, otherwise mostly dry, and lows reaching around 7 to 8 degrees Celsius in Scotland. Heading into Tuesday, and it should be a fairly similar start as to what we saw this morning. Once again, plenty of clear skies, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, some mist and fog in places. Much cloudier start across Northern Ireland and northwestern parts of England, and a risk of showers here. Similar too across parts of Wales and southwest England, but for the bulk of the country, it should be a mostly dry and bright start to the day. And once again, across eastern areas, the sunshine will continue and it should remain mostly dry. But we'll see more clouds start to build in from the west. Still once again some showers. Southern parts of Wales, Devon and Cornwall could see plenty of showers by the time we reach the afternoon. Some could be heavy with some hail and thunder. And with that more cloud in the west, we could see more hazy spells of sunshine. But otherwise a mostly dry, settled day, fairly similar temperatures, highs reaching around 22 degrees Celsius in the southeast. Wednesday, though, perhaps a dry start in eastern areas, soon being replaced by further cloud and showers before we see persistent bands of rain push in from the west, turning quite blustery at times too, alongside some heavy bursts of rain. So quite an unsettled day on Wednesday, and the showers are still continuing for Thursday and Friday, but hopefully plenty of bright and sunny spells in between, where it should remain fairly pleasant.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 10 p.m. I'm Alex Armstrong, standing in for Patrick Christys tonight. 1,097 arrivals in boats on the new Home Secretary's first day. Meanwhile... Yes, the plan to intercept small boats threatened while the French government is in turmoil. Also...
I have alerted and referred myself to the independent advisor on the ministerial code to ensure that they can look transparently at what's happened, and also contacted HMRC to say that.
Well, after Angela Rayner's sensational exit, does the next deputy leader have to be a woman? And...
The National Trust not only seeks to protect nature, but also England's historical identity.
Whiny Gen Z are turning to the National Trust to calm their climate anxiety. Also... Yes, greedy tube drivers are striking in London, impacting the economy by a whopping 230 million. And...
I think that the Boris wave, you know, and I like him personally, I always have done, he's a very entertaining bloke.
Nigel Farage rules out working with Boris. Also, the Boris files have been revealed. Leaked documents from Boris Johnson's private office raise serious questions about his time in Number 10 and his actions since stepping down. On the front page of The Telegraph, striking tube drivers, the ones I was just talking about, those greedy ones, they want Legoland tickets. Well, on my panel tonight, Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, Reform UK party member and former Conservative Party chairman Sir Jake Berry. And what is going on here?
Mr. Thilio started your time.
Yeah, right. Your Monday night starts right here. Are Brits a second-class citizen in their own country? Next.
Good evening, it's 2 minutes past 10. I'm Katie Bowen in the GB newsroom. Let's start with a brief update on that news from earlier. Emergency services have confirmed that Terminal 4 of Heathrow Airport is safe to reopen after firefighters responded to a possible hazardous materials incident on site. Responding tonight, the Metropolitan Police has said in a statement that no trace of any adverse substance was found and that 20 people reported an injury. The force said none were deemed to be life-threatening or life-changing. Both London Fire Brigade and the Metropolitan Police say that inquiries into the incident are ongoing. Heathrow apologised for any disruption caused, adding that passengers should check their airline for more information on flights this evening. Elsewhere, Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood says the UK could suspend visas from countries that do not play ball and agree to returns deals for migrants. Ms Mahmood has hosted a security alliance today alongside ministers from countries like America and Canada to discuss the rise of people smuggling gangs. It comes after more than 1,000 migrants crossed the Channel on the Home Secretary's first full day in office, bringing the total this year to more than 30,000 arrivals. Ms Mahmood has vowed to do whatever it takes to stop small boat crossings. Well, the new Home Secretary has also confirmed that she will not be running for Deputy Leader of the Labour Party. Another person who's ruled herself out of the race this evening is former Transport Secretary Louise Hay. In a statement, she said she will remain on the backbenches so she can speak plainly and campaign boldly. Labour MPs have until Thursday to secure the support of colleagues in Westminster if they wish to replace Angela Rayner. Candidates must get nominations from 80 MPs, that's a fifth of the total on the Labour benches, by 5 o'clock on Thursday. The result of the process will be announced on the 25th of October. To France, where tonight Prime Minister François Bayrou has been ousted from Parliament after losing a confidence vote. MPs debated and voted on the motion this afternoon, with Bayrou losing that vote 364 to 194. The country has been plunged into fresh political chaos as Bayrou is expected to tender his resignation tomorrow morning. The Élysée Palace has confirmed tonight that President Emmanuel Macron will name a new Prime Minister in the coming days. Bayrou has only been in office since December. The Prime Minister has welcomed the President of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, to Downing Street this evening. A Downing Street spokesman said tonight that the leaders discussed the intolerable situation in Gaza and the need for an immediate ceasefire, the release of all hostages and a huge surge in humanitarian aid. The Prime Minister reportedly welcomed the President's commitment to reform the Palestinian Authority as a vital part of his work. It comes as 6 people have been killed and 6 others seriously wounded in an attack by Palestinian gunmen in Jerusalem. Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to catch everyone that helped the 2 attackers. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's company Ineos has abandoned its UK investment plans over what they call Britain's unstable fiscal regime. The chief executive of Ineos's energy division said that the company will now divert plans to invest £3 billion to the United States instead. The company was forced to shut the Grangemouth oil refinery earlier this year. And Prince Harry has spoken at the Well Child Awards in central London this evening, saying that the world has thrown a fair few challenges our way. The Duke of Sussex praised the organisation's work to shine a bright spotlight on the needs of children and young people living with complex medical conditions. He's in the UK for the first time in 5 months, and earlier he visited Windsor Castle, where he laid a wreath and privately paid respects to the late Queen. And sticking with royal news, the Princess of Wales joined her husband at an engagement to mark the 3rd anniversary of Queen Elizabeth II's death. Kensington Palace sources say the Princess of Wales was keen to join her husband to commemorate and celebrate the life of the late Queen. Those are the latest GB News headlines. Now let's go back to Alex.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Welcome back. Well, an East African illegal migrant with no job, living off of universal credit, has had a big property upgrade. He's now gone from living in a newly refurbished studio apartment to a 4-bedroom house. Why? Because he brought his entire family to the United Kingdom through the refugee family reunion route, and his studio apartment, given to him by the council on a quiet, leafy street, simply wasn't big enough for his entire family, and of course, neighbours complained about the noise. Yvette Cooper said this was unsustainable.
And some councils are finding that more than a quarter of their family homelessness applications are linked to refugee family reunion. That is not sustainable.
Well, unlike you or I, the council couldn't throw him and his family out. This meant they all went straight to the top of the housing queue, jumping over the heads of at least 2,000 locals to nab a 4-bedroom house. Well, this particular illegal migrant allegedly has no job and, of course, living on universal credit, and no one in his entire family can speak a single word of English. His children also need schooling, and his wife requires medical attention. This is not an isolated case. A record 20,817 refugee family reunion visas were issued in the year to June 2025 to spouses and children, mainly to Syrians, Iranians, Afghans and Sudanese. That number was less than 4,000 before the pandemic. I wonder what's caused the surge in these migrants coming to Britain. I'm sure some of them haven't told their family and friends about the 4-bedroom house, free healthcare and schooling for their children they're getting. Well, it shouldn't come as any surprise that Shabana Mahmood, the newly anointed Home Secretary, has said that the UK could suspend visas from countries that do not play ball and agree to return deals for migrants.
We think that there is interesting space for collaboration, particularly on how we deal with countries who do not take their citizens back. So making sure that we are able to return out of our countries people who have no right to be in our countries and send them back to their home countries. So for the countries that do not play ball, we've been talking about how we can take much more coordinated action between the Five Eyes countries. And for us, that means including possibly the cutting of visas in the future.
Yeah, all right, but to be honest with you, I don't think this should be used as leverage in the first place. This is an atrocious incentive for illegal migrants and clearly a huge part of the problem we face in this country. It is a slap in the face to every single hard-up or hard-working British person who is desperate for a home. Why should any of us have to fork up tens of thousands of pounds for, let's say, a 1-bedroom flat in London, and some bloke who can't speak English, hasn't worked a day in his life, and is already a net drain on our economy, gets to automatically bring his entire family here and gets rewarded for that with a 4-bedroom house? It's utterly insane. On top of all of that, we now know the French government has collapsed, what, for the 5th time again? So this means all that legislation about changes to French border patrol wading into water to stop the small boats looks like it's going to be ground to a halt. And with 30,000 migrants arriving in the last year, and with the knowledge that a further 20,000 illegal migrant family members are also legally flooding into the country, how much longer can Brits like you and me tolerate being second-class citizens in your own country? Well, to talk more about this, I've got my panel, Daily Express columnist Carol Malone, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, Reform Party member and former Tory Party chairman Jake Berry. So Jake Berry, should I say. Carol Malone, I will start with you. I mean, when I was reading this story, it made my blood boil. You know, do you know, just give you some context why it made my blood boil. I don't own a property in London yet. I'm saving. It's harder and harder and harder to buy a property because the prices go up because guess what? There's no supply.
Yeah. This is the kind of story that puts public frustration at fever pitch. It's why people are taking to the streets to protest. We have illegal immigrants who have done beggar all for this country, coming here and will never do anything for this country because most of them can't speak English and their families can't speak English, as you just pointed out, getting ahead of Britain every shape or form. But the problem is that's never going to change. As long as we have a government and a front bench that is full of parliamentary progressives who care more about the world's poorest than they do about British citizens. And this is the point. And this is why people are so angry with this government now. You know, I get why migrants want to come here. I'd want to come here if I lived in sub-Saharan Africa, if I lived in a hut with no running water. Of course I'd want to come here. And the problem is, it's not the gangs that are the problem. It's this government that's the problem for holding out the incentives, for saying, come here, free houses, free healthcare, free education, you know, bring your families, whatever, forever. That it is the government that's a problem, and as long as this government, and Shabana Mahmood can say what she likes, but unless she is prepared to make this government leave the ECHR, nothing is ever going to change.
But Benjamin, look, I mean, this is two-tier, isn't it? Because British citizens, if they want to bring a foreign spouse to this country, they've got to earn, I think, at least 30 grand. But if you're an illegal migrant, you cross the channel, you've got all the freebies already, then you get into council housing, that's not big enough for you. Bring your whole family, you get a 4-bedroom house. This is a two-tier system, and I appreciate Labour saying they're going to crack down on it, but they're dangling it over the heads of these countries going, well, if you don't agree to our returns, then we'll stop it. Stop it completely.
Well, and she said at some point in the future, whatever that means.
Exactly.
Well,
Benjamin?
look, monologues like yours make me so glad that I voted Labour, because finally...
the only man in the country. He's the only one voting on that YouGov poll.
Finally, we've got a government that actually understands that that's not particularly fair. Because what the government's doing, the previous and subsequent Home Secretary, the current one, have said that if you're coming here as a refugee, you don't have an automatic right to bring in all your relatives. So they're changing how we interpret the ECHR, something that Suella Braverman, for all of her bravado, never did, despite the fact that other countries, Denmark, France, have been doing this for years, Sweden. So we've got a Labour government that's doing that.
But they're not doing it. They're saying we'll stop the visa reunion programme.
Yeah, they've only had a week.
If you agree with our returns process, and if you don't, they can carry on.
They're saying that guys like the one you cite in your story can't bring all their relatives. I think that's a fair way to do. Yeah, but it happened presumably under the Conservatives.
They're saying they'll stop it. Unless
what's the problem?
They'll only stop it, but they're using
Surely
it
you
as
support
a
Keir
carrot and a
Starmer.
stick. No, I don't, because
Keir Starmer's the only one that's stopping
You're not
this.
hearing what I'm saying.
Thank God for Keir Starmer.
They haven't even said they're going to stop it. They've said they're going to do what other countries do and make them wait for 3 years before they bring their relatives in. That was the deal, if it ever happens. But it's not going to happen now. You know, as long as we don't have a deterrent, as long as we don't have a Rwanda, as long as we don't have a way to send people back, they're going to keep on coming. I would keep on. They're going to keep on coming because it's a big sign-up above Britain. Come to Britain, you get everything free forever.
Yeah, Jake. And then eventually bring all your family in for free as well.
Exactly.
Whether it's now or in 3 years' time. The government has one thing right. They should be prioritising these reunification of families by mass deportation of people who are coming to this country illegally. This guy should have been sent back to live with his family in his country of origin. It's what the British people want. No matter who they voted for at the last general election, the world has changed. The British people have moved on. They want their country back. They want their country, run in a way that prioritises our homeless veterans who fought in the British Army. They want their country to prioritise housing their children. They might have lived in a community for decades and their children can't get on the housing ladder. You were talking about you can't get on the housing ladder. As a highly paid GB News presenter, you can't get on the housing ladder. The British people want real change. That's what we need.
Benjamin, this is the point, isn't it? This is the point, right? For British people, it's got to a point now where it's unfair on them. It's unfair on hard-working people who pay their taxes, and for people who want to bring foreign spouses over here. This two-tier system's got to end, and the only way to end it is with mass deportations to free up the housing supply first of all, give people the homes they need. And what do we do about the homeless people in our streets? Labour don't seem to care about them.
Well, there have been homeless people, numbers of homeless people rocketed under the Conservatives.
That's true.
We'd almost eradicated it by 2000.
Yeah, let's what you measure for. It ended almost in the entirety during COVID.
I'm afraid
it depends what you measure for.
People who are already here, legally here, on the road to citizenship, the idea of deporting them, I think, is offensive and wrong and unprincipled. And I'm afraid there are lots of people for whom I think that is basically an avenue for their racism.
I'm sorry, but not if you got here.
They just want to send back people who are Muslims. They don't want to send back people who are Americans or French.
I was on the show a couple of weeks ago with you, and you were applauding Yvette Cooper, saying, "Look how many people she's deported from the country."
Yeah, because they're not here legally.
Is she offensive and wrong? It is not offensive and wrong where people have invaded our country, entered illegally, they're playing the system, they're costing the British taxpayers billions of pounds. It is right to send a strong message to the world.
And that's what the government's doing.
Deport them now.
You've got asylum approvals down, deportations up, visa rules up.
I'm sorry.
Hang on, one second, because, Benjamin, I want to ask you this. Do you think the military camps are a good idea? Are you pro those?
Well, if it's a cheaper...
Maybe take them out of these lovely houses they're getting given by the council, put them into military bases?
If it's a cheaper and reasonable way to deal with them, then I think it's OK. I don't think anybody should be living in squalor and at risk of disease spread.
So let me just come in there, because I listened to a lot of 3 military chiefs this morning on radio and on telly saying quite clearly that all the ones that are empty now, these camps, they're not fit to live in. There's going to be a lot of time and a lot of money spent on them before they're going to be... So this is not going to happen anytime soon. But more importantly, what they're also saying is our armed services are going to be living in camps that are less good than the camps they're making.
Trust me, homeless British veterans in there, not migrants.
Absolutely right. I have some some really interesting stories we're working on this sort of stuff, so stay tuned on that one anyway. A Home Office spokesperson has said this: over the past year, we have cut nearly $1 billion in hotel spending and doubled asylum decision-making rates from the chaotic system we inherited. We aim to close all asylum hotels by the end of this Parliament, working with local authorities to ensure balanced and sustainable accommodation. Right, well, now we have an exclusive for you. The creator of Father Ted, Graham Linehan, has spoken to GB News about his controversial arrest last week for a number of ex-posts. He spoke to Free Speech Nation host Josh Howie, and here's a snippet.
When I stepped off the plane, there were 3 policemen on one side, 2 on the other, just flanking the doorway. And as soon as I saw them, I said, "Don't tell me trans activists sent you," you know? And they just, I mean, I have to say the policemen who picked me up were really decent, you know? They brought me to a quiet area where I wouldn't be embarrassed, and they told me I was under arrest. But because I was just so disgusted that I went nuts. I was absolutely infuriated. I said, "Do you know how you look to America? Do you know what America thinks of Britain at the moment?" And, you know, it's nothing to do with them. They don't care. They're not making the rules. So finally, I mean, I was so incandescent with anger. They did talk about putting cuffs on me. So he said, "Please just let me calm down. You're not bringing me through an airport in cuffs for defending women's rights." And they went off and they discussed it, and they agreed to bring a van around the back. And I went down and I thought, "Oh, okay, that's not so bad, that's not so bad." But then they opened the back of it, and I had to sit in a little tiny cell in the back, like that's like, you know, that.
Yeah, big stuff there. Big stuff there. Jake, I'll start with you. What does this mean for Britain? This is we were talking about free speech last hour, right?
I think for us it should be a moment of national shame. You have an Irish national who tweeted something out 4 months ago, one in the United States, flies into this country and is arrested by armed cops. Whatever the rights or wrongs of that, it just looks awful for Britain, and it's why, as he said, America is listening and they think we've got a real problem.
Benjamin?
The reality is that trans people are a tiny part of this country and they are being abused and vilified.
And they are abusing and vilifying other people.
They are not. They are not.
Yes, they are.
Well, name me the transgender politician, the transgender newspaper columnist, the transgender CEO, the transgender person on this channel.
You're on
they
X
don't
all
exist.
of the time. I say the abuse and I say the insult.
Wallace,
Can I just say something now? I say the abuse from trans people to women and to other people who've criticised the trans ideology.
How many trans billionaires are constantly attacking individuals? It's a nasty, vindictive campaign to which this country should be ashamed.
There's a lot of things people shout at you, I'm sure, shout at me. It hurts. It's not very nice, but I will die for their free speech. Just say it. Because if I want to stop them from saying that, then I should stop them from saying it.
And I can still say bullying is wrong.
No one in this country has a right not to be offended. Not in a democracy, you don't. But what I thought was really sad about Graham's interview there was that he said he was grateful not to be dragged through an airport in cuffs. What, for 4 tweets that he sent out 4 months ago? If they were that bad and that insightful, he should have been arrested 4 months ago in a much quieter way than that.
Jake, Reform UK are talking about scrapping the online safety bill and things like this. I personally think they need to go further. I think we need to be looking at the Malicious Communications Act and all these different things that have led to this legislation being so easily enforced by the police. Well, I mean, how far should we go?
Well, I didn't support the online safety bill when I was in Parliament. The latter stages of it, I decided it had gone too far, which is why I refused to support it. It's a great start. But Carol is absolutely spot on. It should not be a crime to offend someone. That is the point we have got to. If it's a crime to offend someone, you know, crikey, we'll all be committing a criminal offence every half hour on this show.
Totally agree. Well, look, that full interview is, I'm sure it's going to be a bombshell, will be shown on GB News later this week, so stay tuned. The Metropolitan Police Commissioner, Sir Mark Rowley, has said this: while the decision to investigate and ultimately arrest the man was made within the existing legislation, which dictates that a threat to punch someone from a protected group could be an offence, I understand the concern caused by such incidents, given differing perspectives on the balance between free speech and the risks of inciting violence in the real world. I don't believe we should be policing toxic culture wars debates, and officers are currently in an impossible position. I've offered to provide suggestions to the Home Office on where the law and policy should be clarified. Greater clarity and common sense would enable us to limit the resources we dedicate to tackling online statements and those cases creating real threats in the real world. Well, there you go. And also, Another special for you coming up this Wednesday at 7 p.m, the Farage Immigration 2-hour special. You won't want to miss this one, I'm sure. GB News will be covering some of the most astonishing exclusive stories, speaking to stellar guests and providing world-class analysis. Immigration isn't just the issue, it's the issue of our time. Don't forget to send in your views, Farage at gbnews.com, and tune in this Wednesday at 7 p.m. for the Farage Immigration 2-hour special, of course only here on this channel. And if you haven't heard me waffle enough, now it's time for our latest Great British Giveaway. It's your chance to win 104 grand. It's a 4-berth motorhome worth over 74k plus a whopping 30 grand in tax-free cash. Here's all the details.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
All right, good luck, everybody. Well, coming up, tomorrow's front pages will be with you very shortly. There's this really crazy story about Legoland and tube drivers. Trust me, you're not going to miss that one. Plus,
I think that the Boris wave, and I like him personally, I always have done. He's a very entertaining bloke.
Well, are the Tories collapsing down to 18%? MPs and voters are defecting to reform while Nigel Farage takes charge of the ride. But should he do a deal with Boris Johnson? I don't know. See you shortly.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Now, Dame Helen Mirren has said that despite being a feminist, she believes the next James Bond has to be a chap.
OK, she said that she believes it just doesn't work, and by having a woman as Bond, the project becomes something else entirely.
So we are asking the question, could Bond ever be a woman?
Well, we're joined by a former what is termed Bond girl, Jenny Hanley, and and there is, we're expecting you, but it's really 007 podcast contributor John Kell there as well. Jenny, you've been there, done it, got the T-shirt, been involved in it. What's your take?
I think James Bond has to be a male, because he came from the imagination of Ian Fleming. If you want a female 007, don't ride on his coattails and take the fame that has come from his character, James Bond. Write your own.
Yeah, you see, that's what I tend to think. But
I just think that you just go 007. The problem is, right, the last Bond film, he died. James Bond died. I mean, there was a... Oh, sorry.
Great, I haven't seen that one.
Sorry, yeah. I think everybody pretty much now knows that he definitely... I mean, there was an absolutely... It wasn't even did he or didn't he, can he or can he not survive. It was 100% gone. So it's now time for a clean... The nice thing about a clean sheet, surely, John, is that you can actually go, right, so 007, let's do the 007 and then we can do different stories, because the books that have been written by Ian Fleming have been well and truly milked, haven't they?
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight with me, Alex Armstrong. Well, all of tomorrow's newspapers are coming up very shortly, but first, the Tory collapse is rewriting British politics, isn't it? According to the latest polls, they are stuck in third place, stuck at 18%. Nadine Dorries says that the Conservative Party is dead, and following the Reform Party conference this weekend, new recruit Dorries says Boris Johnson and Nigel Farage should team up. But despite being urged to join forces in an attempt to stop Labour winning the next general election, Nigel Farage even says Boris Johnson is not welcome in Reform UK. Well, I'm now joined by Reform UK councillor Maxine Foggill. Maxine, thank you so much for joining me. It's lovely to see you as ever, Maxine. Now, look, these comments, I broke this the other day on GB News when we got the headlines in. It's caused a little bit of, by Nadine Dorries, of course, she's just affected, but they've caused a little bit of tension in the party because, of course, Nadine is a staunch Boris loyalist. And I wonder whether her comments the day after the conference are going to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. What do you think?
No, I don't think so at all. I think that we stand firm on this. It's good to have Nadine Dorries over. She's bringing a wealth of experience with her, but we certainly don't need Boris Johnson. We're a strong party. We are rising, exponentially. I mean, we're at 34% of the polls now. And we don't need Boris to join us. And I think Nigel has made that very clear at conference and also today during varying different press conferences.
Yeah, and look, to be fair, though, it does look a little bit embarrassing for the party because Nadine has been up on the main stage. It was announced as a massive defection. And I think people will be wondering, well, has this all gone very badly very quickly? And can you trust someone like Nadine Dorries, who, of course, again, has just proven she's very loyal to Boris. She's even saying he should join the party, that she's somebody that we want in Reform UK, that you would want as a councillor. And is that something that you believe we should have these Tory defections constantly coming over? Because it might cause more of this kind of tension. Maybe Boris could end up usurping Nigel.
Well, that's kind of a little bit beyond my pay grade, to be totally honest with you.
Fair enough, Maxine, fair enough.
That is obviously down to Nigel. But Nigel obviously has the faith and the trust in her. He put her up on the stage, as we know. She does bring a wealth of experience. She's got cabinet experience, something that we don't actually have as a party. But I do wonder if this is all said a little bit to actually kind of whip it all up in the media as it has done. I think we all know the answer to that. We all know what happened in 2019 when Nigel stood us all down to, with promises from Boris Johnson. And I don't think that our Nigel would actually allow for that to ever happen again. And I think for us as members, councillors, I don't think that we would want that neither. So I can't see it ever happening.
Maybe to be slightly fair to Boris Johnson here. I mean, he's an extremely electable man. He won a massive landslide, the biggest landslide since Thatcher for the Tories. Maybe he's someone that you would say we should want in the party. That we want someone like Boris to join us so we can campaign for us. Perhaps even something like a chairman sort of role, perhaps.
Well, I think he kind of blotted his copybook, and I don't think people trust him. He did a lot of bad things. Faith, trust was lost in him. I mean, I was a big Boris fan, I have to say. When he was the mayor of London, I thought he was a very good mayor, very entertaining. But I think that a lot of the things he did, he lost so much public trust. And I don't think that the time's right, maybe many, many years' time. But I don't think people will actually forgive him. And I cannot see that he would be right for Reform UK.
Yeah, and Maxine as well, you know, there's lots of people saying the biggest threat to Reform UK now is itself. Do you think the comments by Nadine are helpful when we talk about things like this? Because, of course, it does throw these big questions out, but perhaps it is helpful because then you can say no. What do you think? Is Reform going to eat itself alive?
No, I don't think it will. I mean, we are rising and rising. We've already got 870 councillors. We've got big elections next year. We're running 10 councils. Next year, we're going to be putting out another 5,000 councillors, and we've got big elections. We've got Scotland, Wales, London. We fully expect that we are going to be running a lot more than 10 councils, and we are the only party, in all honesty, that are giving people hope. That I think this government that we've got right now is probably the worst government that we've ever seen, most of us have ever seen in our lifetimes. And Reform are actually giving so many people hope. I mean, at the conference over the weekend, I bumped into so many people, and they had never been to a political party before. They'd never been a member. They'd never been to a conference. And they actually joined because they said, I've had enough, we've got to do something. And I find when I'm knocking on the doors, talking to people, going out anywhere, everyone is saying the same thing. Well, not everyone, we've still got the left people and the other people.
And Maxine, look, that's the thing, right? Politics, there's loads more to come still. I'm sure we'll see a lot more about these sorts of debates in the future. But listen, thank you so much for joining. Maxine Fothergill, Reform UK Councillor there. Pleasure to see you. Thank you. Coming up, also, what is going on here?
Mr. Thilio, started your time.
Right, well, I've got tomorrow's front pages for you. Just a little tease there. In the Daily Mail, just 7 miles apart, but there's still a chasm between the warring princes. Wow, well, let's get into that one, shall we? This is Patrick Christys tonight with me, Alex Armstrong, only on GB News.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there. An unsettled couple of days to come across parts of Spain and Italy with some heavy showers around. But for the Canaries, actually, next couple of days, largely fine, apart from the odd shower around. Plenty of sunshine, actually, for parts of Portugal and western Spain. But for eastern Spain, the Balearics, parts of Italy, southern France, some heavy and thundery downpours around. But for much of Greece and Turkey, fine, a couple of days to come, with temperatures here reaching the high 20s.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Heading into tomorrow, and we'll see more sunshine across eastern areas. Can't rule out some showers across the west though. Fairly similar temperatures, so still remaining pleasant in any sunshine. But low pressure is still mostly dominating, particularly across western areas. A westerly flow still at times dragging in some showers and some longer spells of rain. And we could still see 1 or 2 showers, particularly across western parts of the UK. But once again, central areas, parts of the east will remain mostly dry. Plenty of clear skies, which means it is going to be turning cooler overnight. We could even see some mist and fog in prone areas by the morning. Some showers just starting to push into the southwest, otherwise mostly dry, and lows reaching around 7 to 8 degrees Celsius in Scotland. Heading into Tuesday, and it should be a fairly similar start as to what we saw this morning. Once again, plenty of clear skies, particularly across the northeast of Scotland, some mist and fog in places. Much cloudier start across Northern Ireland and northwestern parts of England, and a risk of showers here. Similar too across parts of Wales and southwest England, but for the bulk of the country, it should be a mostly dry and bright start to the day. And once again, across eastern areas, the sunshine will continue and it should remain mostly dry. But we'll see more clouds start to build in from the west. Still once again some showers. Southern parts of Wales, Devon and Cornwall could see plenty of showers by the time we reach the afternoon. Some could be heavy with some hail and thunder. And with that more cloud in the west, we could see more hazy spells of sunshine. But otherwise a mostly dry, settled day, fairly similar temperatures, highs reaching around 22 degrees Celsius in the southeast. Wednesday, though, perhaps a dry start in eastern areas, soon being replaced by further cloud and showers before we see persistent bands of rain push in from the west, turning quite blustery at times too, alongside some heavy bursts of rain. So quite an unsettled day on Wednesday, and the showers are still continuing for Thursday and Friday, but hopefully plenty of bright and sunny spells in between, where it should remain fairly pleasant.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes and Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm Alex Armstrong, covering for Patrick Christys tonight, of course. Well, should we just get to your front pages, shall we? Metro, 135 million cocaine ship bust is the tip of the iceberg. That sounds like a fun one. We'll get into that shortly. The Independent. Union chiefs tell Prime Minister, don't axe Rayner's worker rights charter. The Labour left plots revenge on Stummer. We saw that one coming, didn't we? The Daily Mail, just 7 miles apart, but there's still a chasm between the warring princes. The Guardian revealed Johnson's traded PM contracts for business deals. Well, of course, joining my sofa, Carol Malone, Benjamin Butterworth and Sir Jake Berry. Well, where should we start? Should we start with... Should we start?
Let's do Legoland.
Should we do? Well, do you know? I want to save the Legoland. I want to save. I want to save that. We will come to Legoland because that is an incredibly horrendous story. But why don't we start off with the warring Labour left? Because we were talking about this on the show the other night, right? It seemed that all the papers had these little tidbits of Labour sort of former cabinet ministers been reshuffled out, and of course Labour MPs who are sort of warning. There's also these little subtle warnings to the Prime Minister. Oh, you know, don't do this, don't do that. Seems to me, Carol, that they're plotting.
Oh, they're plotting, yeah. I mean, they're very cross at Angela. Their flag wave has now gone, and they want to replace her with someone who will have huge influence within government. If Starmer's got any sense, he won't let that happen because he was terrified of Angela Rayner and he was terrified of her power with the unions.
I think he's skipping in the halls of Downing Street.
I would think he was absolutely skipping, and I thought she would hang on to that part. The leader of the party, I thought she would hang on to that job and would want to. The unions would make it, but anyway, she hasn't. She hasn't had a choice. But I don't think he's going to put anyone else in place that is going to give him a hard time.
Yeah, well, of course, this is the paper here, Benjamin, and, you know, it seems to me that he's sort of always despised the left of his party, Keir Starmer. He's done his best to sort of shove them out. Rayner was there sort of as a balancing act. Now who has he got?
Well,
apart from Ed. You know, Ed playing his little... He's unsackable now, isn't he?
I'd say a few things. So Angela Rayner, he won't have been happy she's gone at all because what this means...
No, I don't think...
No, what this means is that you now have to have a national contest within Labour members in which it will be a race of ministers or former ministers, of frustrated backbenchers to try and court the membership on how much they can criticise the incumbent Labour Prime Minister. So this is an absolute nightmare for him. And although she was to his left, she's more soft left than hard left. She was really playing a game with the Corbyn stuff. It's not her politics. She often praises Tony Blair. She was not that left wing.
She was absolutely left wing.
She was not a powerful deputy prime minister at all. When you very rarely saw her on television because she wasn't allowed to.
Where are you? Have you had your head down a manhole? She's not on television very often.
The person who was really deputy prime minister is Pat McFadden, and that will remain the case. David Lammy has the title, but the other thing is, it's not a real job. David Lammy has had a demotion of a mighty type in the last week, OK?
But
I wouldn't worry about it.
And not before time. Look, I think there's a few things to look at. I mean, first of all, they have tried to rig this contest by doing it as quickly as possible and actually some time ago increase the nomination rate.
Are they learning from the Tories,
to prevent a sort of Corbyn moment coming back for them. But, you know, the truth is that the Labour Party membership, what's left of it, is far to the left of the Labour government, far to the left of many Labour MPs. And whoever gets on the ballot paper from the progressive left, the soft left, the hard left, I don't know which left they might go for, they will probably go to the left-wing candidate. And the nightmare for Keir Starmer is that it has a deputy leader who's deputy leader of the Labour Party but not in government, therefore not bound by ministerial responsibility, and will just sit there throwing bottles.
That's just not right.
Very quickly. I want to get onto the audience really want to hear about this Daily Mail front page, because let's bring it up if we can for the audience at home. Is that just 7 miles apart? So obviously both brothers in town, aren't they? There's still a chasm between the warring princes. Obviously, you know, this has been going on for a pretty long time. Carol, you know, it doesn't seem like they're ever going to.
It's going to be interesting this week because Charles is not here at the moment. They're saying he's got some engagements in London this week, so there's a very vague possibility he may well see Harry. However, Wills has made it absolutely clear he's not the vaguest bit interested, and he has engagements every single day that are nowhere near where Harry's going to be. So he's made it absolutely clear he's not going to be around. These two are never going to get back together again. And Charles, you know, hasn't seen his Harry for 2 years now. It's nearly 2 years. Because he can't ever be trusted again. This is the problem. You can't ever give him any sort of job within the family because he'll just go and blab to the American press. And if he doesn't, Meghan will do it for him. So he can't be allowed back in, but he's trying very hard now because no one in America is interested in him. He's a laughingstock now.
Brief comments from you, Benjamin?
Well, his currency comes from the link to the royal family, so he has to try and reaffirm it to try and have some value. I must confess, I felt quite uncomfortable seeing him do some charity work today because it felt like you've dunked on your country for millions of pounds. I'm not sure. I think you have to earn your right to come back and do these things.
Very briefly.
I don't think he can ever come back, and I think the Prince of Wales is right to prioritise Britain and Britain's interests.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think all of you are right. I think unfortunately it's finished between the two brothers, but there we go. Well, let's move on to this here. A town council candidate in Cranford, New Jersey, went viral after a video captured him breakdancing at a town hall meeting. Let's have a look.
Mr. Thilly, I started your time.
Who's listening already? He's just silently breakdancing at this town hall meeting. I mean, he's obviously in some form of protest.
Do you know
now
what?
we know what Theresa May, where she got the inspiration from for her robotic
Maybe he got it from her.
To think that bloke could be in charge of that area's money at some point. He looks like the Men in White coat should be coming from. That's just insane to be doing
well,
that.
there we go. Anyway, look, coming up on the front page of the Telegraph, get this, striking I can't say that word tonight. Tube drivers want Legoland tickets. Oh, and there's still time to be part of our Friday audience.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christys Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christys Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's Newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Why do you think that era of telly is so fondly remembered by viewers? Do you think it's just how warm and friendly?
Well, of course it was.
Came through.
Well, it was very
Well, I'll tell you why.
on.
There was more people. You had more to say. You could be more off script, the way we are in GB News. But today you just get people who are told because of wokeism, don't say this, don't do that, and do read the script and stick to it. So you get presenters now who have got much less personality and much less risk.
Well, they're risk averse, aren't they? That's the whole point, is that, you know, probably nowadays I'd have been sacked within 2 months.
Well, I like to think it's because we did our homework, didn't we? You know, we went on there knowing what we were talking about. And we challenged people in a friendly but firm way, you know.
John, I remember presenting with you, which would never happen today. You and I presenting GMTV in the morning, right? And you would never have two men now. Don't ask me why. You could have two women doing it, but you would never have two men. And this man, to me, he was always the governor. It wouldn't matter if I was given, it was my role. I was beside him. That was John Stapleton. I said to him, you're the boss. You do what you do. He was the senior guy. Still respect him and look up to him. What do you think of what you see on TV today?
Well, I'm not as critical as you, perhaps. I think I'm more. I mean, I think there's still some damn good programmes on TV, some very good documentaries, and I think most people in the news area do the level best they can and are very competent. So I hate to sit in judgment, but I do watch the news like you, I'm sure, in a very meticulous way, thinking, why are they saying that? Why have they put that there? Why have they put this here? But, you know, we're out of it. It's over. For me, it's over. So there's no point in sitting there harping about what's going on now.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the show. Should we get to some more of your headlines, shall we? There we go. Express shocking toll of 500,000 sick days at tax offices. The Telegraph. 4 in 5 NHS hospitals failing. Not good for the Health Secretary, is it? The Sun. I'm a cop who set Maddie suspect free. I thought, oh, well, that's about. There we go. The Times. Visa threat to states not taking back migrants. And, of course, joining me, Carol Malone, Benjamin Butterworth and Sir Jake Berry. I think we need to start with this bonkers Legoland story. Let me just give you some insight here to the audience. I've got a little bit of tidbits here. So, apparently, many of these tube strike drivers who are obviously this week setting the capital, grounding into a halt, they're also part of their demands, amongst having an extra day off a week, is that go to Legoland, Carol.
Yeah, so they've brought the capital to a grinding halt so they can all go on a 2-for-1 fun-fied ride on roller coasters and whatever. I mean, it is beyond belief. You know, a lot of these people are tube drivers. These tube drivers are on their set wage is between 65 and 80 grand a year. Plus, on top of that, they can earn 20 to 30 grand extra with all the overtime. And I heard an RMT official on the radio this morning talking about how tired all his workers are and how working on social hours is bad for their mental health. They work on social hours because they want to, because they get double and triple overtime for doing it. What I didn't hear him talk about was this ridiculous thing about Legoland tickets, which is just, this is beyond farce. They can't ask for more money because literally they couldn't be paid more. So they want everything paid for, everything else paid for. They also want to, by the way, they want to priv staff travel costs, which means everywhere they go in the country, they get 75% off the travel expenses. Chic.
It's a complete cheek, isn't it? And also this, by the way, participating theme parks, Jake Berry, include Cadbury World and the London Eye.
Lovely.
So they could do the whole city and some theme parks in a day. There just wouldn't be any tubes to get them there.
This Priv card where they get this almost, almost free.
Almost free.
Most people who pay for it 5% discount. I mean, crikey, if you want a Blue Peter badge so badly, do what everyone else does, draw something and send it to the show. It is the equivalent of a Blue Peter badge, all these free entrance to theme parks. It's absolutely bonkers. It's the unions holding the Labour government to ransom because they know they're just going to give them everything they want, including the Legoland tickets.
I mean, Benjamin, it's totally bonkers, isn't it? Listen, I'm all for workers' rights. Well, of course, workers should have rights, but this is just taking the mickey out of the taxpayer.
Slightly amusing that they want 75% off the train costs, which suggests they realise the train costs are too high. Maybe they wouldn't be so high. Maybe they wouldn't be so high if they went on 70 grand for 30-odd hours a week. Look, I mean, the lesson in this is that joining a union and having high union membership delivers results. And if more people join their trade union, they'd have better
I'm afraid,
rights.
but the trade union number numbers in this country have halved in the past 10 years. Halved. It's not a powerful movement anywhere.
But the RMT
this
is
particular
an
one
example.
is.
Because there's still very high numbers of London Underground workers are unionised, and that's why they have such a good deal.
So there is a serious point to this, which is, you know, in some of the other papers you've discussed the headlines that they're talking about this workers' rights bill. That workers' rights bill rolls back the very minimal protections we have to stop these sort of strikes. So what is starting on the tube will happen to our nationalised railways. We're already seeing people in the NHS, schools, across the public sector striking with these sort of unreasonable demands like free tickets to Legoland. Frankly, the country cannot afford it. They cannot afford this Labour government.
Where does it end? I mean, if you can strike as much as you like, you just start striking over everything, and you end up with the same crisis that the previous Labour governments had. And this is the problem, Carol, isn't it? Is that they end up being, because they are so attached to unions, they end up being beholden by them.
If Starmer's got half a brain, which I'm not entirely sure he has, but, you know, this country is $3.5 trillion in debt, and he can't give these kind of rights to workers because the company is going to be $4.5–5 trillion in debt, and he knows that is unsustainable now. He's going to lose his job anyway in 3 years' time, but he may lose it in 1.5 years' time if he doesn't pull his finger out and stop this kind of nonsense.
So, Jake, I mean, just very, very briefly, your thoughts on this other headline we've got here. There's 1 in 4 hospital, 1 in 5, 4 is it 4 in 5? I can't remember. We've got the headline front for you.
It's
Telegraph.
It's 4 in 5, I think.
That's right. I'll find it in a second.
I think it's in the Telegraph. We can rush out and buy a copy if we got it wrong and send us an email.
4 in 5. I found 4 in 5.
4 in 5.
Brief
Look,
comments.
I mean, you know, the failures of the NHS didn't start with the Labour government. I think that's the first thing to say. The Conservative Party has its part to play, and actually COVID has its part to play. But the prescription being written by Wes Streeting is clearly failing, and it just mirrors the fact that the prescription being written by this Labour government is clearly failing. When they came in, they said there was a £22 billion black hole.
And
that has more than doubled. Are they doing a good job? No, they're making a problem worse.
Carol, I'm so sorry. We're running out of time. We're running out of time. But listen, we've got loads more of your headlines coming up for you very, very shortly. Let's quickly get your weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Heading into tomorrow, and we'll see more sunshine across eastern areas. Can't rule out some showers across the west, though. Fairly similar temperatures, so still remaining pleasant in any sunshine. But low pressure is still mostly dominating, particularly across western areas. A westerly flow still at times dragging in some showers and some longer spells of rain. And we could still see 1 or 2 showers, particularly across western parts of the UK. But once again, central areas, parts of the east will remain mostly dry. Plenty of clear skies, which means it is going to be turning cooler overnight. We could even see some mist and fog in prone areas by the morning. Some showers just starting to push into the southwest, otherwise mostly dry, and lows reaching